You have to know that Premiere Pro does not have a 3D engine, so this here is actually impossible to create. But with some creativity, everything is possible. Alright guys, let's get started. I'm going to remove everything from the example so that we can start with a blank page. The first thing that we're going to do is create a new sequence, like that. I'm just going to take a digital SLR 720p sequence over here, and I'm going to name this 3D title, or title 3D. Press OK, and we have ourselves a timeline. Then guys, the next thing that we can do is add a background. Now you can also use a video or some footage that you have, but in this example I'm just going to create a white solid. So also again from the new item menu, I'm going to create a color matte, press OK, and I'm going to take the white color, like that. And I'm just going to name this a background, press OK, and drag that to your timeline. Then I'm just going to increase the scale a little bit, like this guys. Alright, now let's create the title. Again, click on that new item button and say title. Name it something, let's say 3D title, and press OK. Then guys, from the tools menu here, we're going to take the type tool, and I'm going to click in my canvas right here, and I'm going to type in 3D title. Select your title, and I'm going to change the color to something around red or blue or green or black. You can choose whatever you want here, of course. And for the font family, guys, we're going to choose something solid. Because right here you can see that we have many lines, and it's not so easy to create that 3D effect onto it. So we're going to pick something like Arial or Impact. Alright, let's increase the size and center that title up. Close the title and drag your 3D title into your timeline. Alright guys, let's get started now. And that all happens within our Effects tab, right here. The first thing that we're going to add is a basic 3D effect, which comes from the Perspective folder. Drag that to your 3D title, and what we can do with this is swivel our title or tilt our title. Now this is not a real 3D that we have right here, it's just an illusion that it's creating here, that we some kind of feel that the title is in a 3D space, but it's not, because Premiere Pro doesn't have that 3D engine. Alright, we're going to create a start position, and for that I'm going to create a swivel of something around 15, like that, and I'm also going to tilt that a little bit to something around -5, so that it looks upwards. Like this guys, this is going to be our starting position. Now let's extrude the title so that we have a real 3D feeling. From the effects guys, we can't really search for extrusion. So what we're going to do is use our creativity, and I'm just going to take the drop shadow effect right here. Drag that to the title, and what we can do with this is create, of course, a shadow effect, but we can also extrude the object with it. But in order to do that, we have to first increase the opacity, like that. Now when we're going to increase the distance, you will see that there will be a gap between the actual title and the extrusion, or the shadow, and that is not what we want. But we're going to fix that later on, guys. Let's just first animate our extrusion. We're going to start in the beginning of our timeline, and we're going to set the direction on the correct value. Something around this, guys, because we have also tilted up a little bit, we can add the direction a little bit downwards here, so that you can see it's peeping down below here. Alright, this is going to be the value for the direction in the beginning, and I'm also going to open up Basic 3D again, and we're going to create keyframes for the swivel and the tilt. Then let's head a little bit further in time, guys, and what I'm going to do now is bring the swivel to the other side. So I'm just going to make this -15 degrees, like that. Now as for the tilt guys, I'm just going to create a dummy keyframe. So that's a keyframe by clicking on this button right here with the same value as the previous keyframe. We're going to do something later on with this. And then guys, we're going to bring the direction of the drop shadow to the other side, like that. Alright, so we have a beginning point and an ending point. But let's take a look what happens in the middle right here. Look at that guys, the title really lays down below. Now we're going to fix that with the tilt to make it look more natural. So somewhere in the middle here, guys, we're going to bring the tilt more faced upwards, like that. Minus 25 maybe. Alright, and when we're going to play this now, you can see that it looks way more natural. Alright guys, the setup's great now. Let's create the extrusion. But first, let's assign the color of the extrusion. Now again, you can take whatever you want in here. I'm just going to take blue, for example, or you can take also red or a darker red or just black. Anything you want, guys. Alright, now as for the distance, as you can see we have a gap. In order to make sure that there is no gap at all, we have to start with a distance of 1. Now at this point, guys, there's no gap between the extrusion and the actual title, but it's not really much of an extrusion. So we can fix that. And we're going to do that by, first of all, closing up the drop shadow, right click on it, say copy, and paste in your effects controls. Open up the drop shadow, and what we can do now is increase the distance of a maximum of the double of the previous drop shadow effect. So 1 times 2 is 2, and the extrusion already comes out a little more now. Let's close up that second drop shadow effect. Right click on it, say copy, and paste. Open up that third drop shadow, again 2 times 2 now is 4. Now, the double value is really the maximum you can go each time. Right click on it, copy, and paste. Now guys, let's say that, for example, now the distance is going to be 8, because 4 times 2 is 8. And you already think that the extrusion now is way too much for you. Then you can always go less than the double. Like 7 is also okay, that won't leave a gap. It's just the maximum that you really have to count in here. Alright, let's do one more. Copy that, last one, and paste a new drop shadow. Open that up and do 2 times 8, which is going to be 16. And look at that, guys. When we now play this video right here, you can see that we have created a beautiful extruded text, a real 3D title, and that's all within Adobe Premiere Pro. Alright, let's make it look even more natural. And that we can do with some lighting effects. So from your effects controls, guys, we're just going to search for light, and within the adjust folder, you should find lighting effects. Drag that on top of your 3D title, and look at that, guys. Adobe Premiere Pro just gave a little bug here. It's not really a bug, because what we're doing is drop shadow, drop shadow, drop shadow, drop shadow, and on top of all of that, we can find the lighting effects. Now this is actually in a wrong order. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the lighting effects on top, and look at the title. It's going to go back to the middle now. This is better. Alright, open up Light 1. Make sure to select your lighting effects plugin so that we can select a visual right here. And we're going to place that somewhere on the left side so that it lights up the 3 and the D. And for the center here, we're going to create a new keyframe. We're going to go further in time. Now make sure to hold down your Shift key so that your time ruler will stick to the keyframes